Thank you, Dr. Chinonso. Thank you. Thank you, Mama Baranta. Thank you very much. Awanjo, thank you very much for joining us. I'm super excited, totally excited and excited having everybody. Of course, my desire is to see everybody in this platform do well and enjoy your business, whether you are working for people, whether you are on your business, whether you are, whatever you're doing, you can make profit. It is important, whether you're working for your family, whether you're working for the government, you can make profit. And frankly, I have made profit, and that's why I can categorically talk about these. And there are just few things that I wanted us to share. I know you guys are already astute in your own endeavor. I know you're doing well, but let's go a little bit deeper, especially from the COVID-19, and share a bit experience of what I've done. I was in a meeting today where I was interviewed, and they said I should write a book on the topic I selected to speak on. And I told them, oh, come on, does it have that much content? And I was glad because the feedback I got was amazing. I took one of my mentors today to my facility at NTA Road in Port Harcourt. It was an amazing sight. I mean, people may not know you a lot until when they come closer to you. And once they come closer to you, they begin to believe you more and more often. So when your mentor walk up to you and ask you certain question, when did you start business? And the first thing they asked me, how did you manage this whole concept? You know, you're here and here. It's exciting, it's getting excited, and everybody that knows that I want people to own their life. I'm going to talk about business profit. All of us are in business. I'm going to share a bit of experience of what happened to me when I left the bank and I joined a particular gentleman who was my friend in the bank. And he had a small business, not a small business, a growing business then, within his house structure. So we have an open office, has his own office, and we have another administrative office. And when I got into that business, from my banking perspective and from my financial perspective, I realized that that business wasn't going to go far. And it didn't take me 2 days to analyze that business. And I realized that, yes, that guy is making money, but he doesn't have a profitable business. And I tried to convince him. But unfortunately, you know, people want to see money. People want to buy cars. There is nothing wrong. People want to build houses and people want to have title. They are good, but they are not profitable businesses. And so that's why I want to take time to look at what is profit. What do you mean that you're profiting in your business? Is it a quantum of money? Is it the asset you have? Is it a liability you have? Is it the name or the goodwill? Is it the structure you have? Is it the processes you have? And so it's important. So it's what I call the forward thinking, which is basically what Joke has started. I think it peeped into my thought process, forward thinking. So I want us to have a projection, you know, where we are going in the next 5 years, in the next 2 years. Where you are, can you say you can reproduce yourself? Can you beat yourself and say, oh, assuming you lose everything at that moment where you are you able to bounce back? Assuming, like, God forbid, like armed robbers come walk into your organization and shut down all the laptops, everything that you own, and break down every form of asset you have. Can you recreate yourself? I mean, these are the things I'm going to be talking about. So I said, number one, if you are in business, this is very key. We don't go to business to make money. We go to business to make profit. We don't go to business to make money. We go to business to make profit. I know this is a cliche that you've not heard, or you may have heard it, and you may question also, what are we doing? Everybody that goes into business to make money may not sustain that business, because business is much more than making money. Business is much more than making money. And this is the illusion. Some of the illusion they sold to us that, oh, I had to be an entrepreneur because I want to make money. If it is just about to make money, I will shut my business and trust me, and I'll go to my village and stay, because, hey, money is an illusion, frankly, because you can have the money and trust me, you may not be able to make profit. And so I want to say it again, don't start a business because you want to make money, but you want to make profit. And once you have this dimension in your head, it will help you to align your priorities, align your values in ensuring profitability of your organization than making money. Because it also summarizes that for profit of the business, one of the things that is going to give you is sustainability. You can make money and never sustain a business. And let me tell you why. I was in a bank and I encountered a particular gentleman. While I was there, this gentleman was very rich in terms of money and in terms of assets. At that moment, he had a vessel, and in that vessel, I mean, when we were in the bank, he used to come with escorts. This is a gentleman, when he comes into our bank, he dishes out money like, I mean, the minimum money he can give us to the staff will be somewhere like 100,000. I could remember that one day he walked into our bank, then it was about past 9 o'clock, and it was against our policy in the bank to open the vault, because, I mean, at that point, it has an insurance that covered it. And if anybody have noticed that the bank was open at that time, I'm sure that somebody would have got a query. 4 years down the line, that guy was broke, completely broke. It didn't make sense to me for years, because, I mean, I had left the bank and he got into my office. And when he got into my office, he was asking for fuel money. I can't stop thinking about Chief. What happened to all the money? All the money that were available, all the vessels. I realized that he was pursuing money, not pursuing profit of the business. And this is some of the reasons why you look at people like Abiola Empire. They had so much money, but they didn't have profit. Because it is not money that keeps the business running, it is the profit that sustains the business. When I look at what happened to Okada, I mean, it didn't make sense that Okada had the highest fleet in Nigeria. I mean, if they were making profit today, I'm sure they should have been like a national carrier. I mean, some of you are young. I don't know whether you ever entered Okada. I used to enter Okada from Port Harcourt to Lagos, literally not paying. Then it was 2,000. And sometimes I could just pay 500 naira. There were no system, no accountability, no structure, no process, no power, nothing. So they were busy making money, but they didn't make profit. And so the business today, it's gone, because they made money, but they didn't make profit. But you know, fast tracked a particular gentleman that I love so much, and I model a whole lot after. Otodola. Otodola was busy making profit, not money. And so sometimes, I think sometimes about some years back, um, he crashed completely. Well, because of exchange of monies and all kinds of things and all that, petroleum moved on all that. He lost so much millions of dollars, but today he is in billions of dollars, one of the most profitable business venture in Nigeria. He lost so much that because he used to have a lot of shares, he has to sell all those shares in order to pay off his debts. And today he still remains in business. I think sometimes last year, he sold some of his shares, and he's moving into energy now. And nobody's hearing from him. He can sustain that profitability, that business, because of profit, not money. That's why you can't have some level of money in the bank. You think you have money, but you do not really have money. I share experience of what happened to me some years back, and I said this always. A particular gentleman walked up to me because he had a purchase order, and that purchase order was given to him by a company, and a particular bank in Nigeria was supposed to finance him. And when he got into my office, he's been carrying that purchase order, and he needed somebody who could help him finance the 10%. And I got money then. I wasn't doing business, but I had opportunity to have access to loan facility in the bank. So I went to GTB precisely, and I collected 10 million naira. Then it was a long time, and I gave to the guy. He was making money, but he didn't understand profiting. And that's why I'm trying to take time to break it down so everybody will have a background between making money and making profit. And once you can get this concept, you know, you could go far if you pursue profit rather than pursue money. So this guy collected 10 million and gave me a check, and I was willing to help him. And between me and 10 million was like between me here and Lagos and London. Well, hey, I took the risk and gave him the money. So I had money, I had all that it takes. The guy didn't have the money to pay back, because by the time the business was recalled back, was LC, what they call LC, letter of credit, there was an exchange. And that exchange regime changed. Let's say maybe the exchange by the time maybe it was 100 naira. By the time the money was called back, the exchange had gone to 250 naira. When the money came back, they put him into debt and took off even the 10 million I invested. Until date, he didn't pay me that money. So he had money, he had whatever it is, but he didn't have profit until today. I didn't get to see that gentleman any longer. And you know, I sold that money as a seed to him. Then, so I had money, but no profit. A lot of you are investing in all kinds of platform now. So you remember when the shares was almost like everybody had shares. I walked into my friends in the industry. Everybody was talking about shares. Everybody said, "Oh, I have this thing. I have this. I made so much money. Oh, I'm making so much in shares." They were pursuing the quantum of money, but were not pursuing profits. And so I decided to invest and invest. I mean, at some point, I had like about 5 million then in share value. And one regime of drop in those share values brought me from 5 million, I think, to like about 1 point something million. It was quite insignificant. And a lot of people that I knew in the industry, a lot of them had, see, I have 22 million. People took loan, you know, and invested in share. And yeah, they had quantum they could see over there, but they didn't have profit. And so because of this, people loses money regularly and they can't sustain their business, they can't sustain their personal income, they can't sustain. I mean, some of you are, have so much money in all the platforms like MBA investment. What just for God forbid, once maybe something happened into the economy and it crashes. I don't wish it to crash because Bodako will be in trouble. But the thing, once that crashed, you had money, but you didn't have profit. And that's why it's important for us to talk about, once you talk about business, you talk about profitability of your business. And it's also about your income. You know, people just earn salary. You know, they are not profiting in their business, in their income generation, maybe your salary, because you've not been able to look at your salary also as a business, to be able to master the art, the craft, you know, so that you can be profitable. As me, for instance, you step aside right now. Can you say that that work, that's why people work for 18 months, work for 20 years in an organization, but because they don't understand about profiting, they are only looking out for quantums of money, and they are asking for salary increment, you know, just to satisfy, to keep satisfy bigger money, but without a proper structure. So when they leave the job, within 2 months, 3 months, some people won't even survive a month. They're already asking for help because they are not profiting in their business. They're not profiting as a person. So it's important. So I give you an instance. I have a business where we make a whole lot of turnover. So sometimes the accountant will give me a very bogus figure. And I keep asking her, come on, if you were making this profit that you think that we're making, why is it that I can't go and buy a Mercedes-Benz or live in Banana Island or buy a house in Dubai or something? Because every day she will show me big figures that I accumulated money, but it wasn't reflecting around me, especially for some of us who are in the distributing industry where you have a lot of turnover, and yet that turnover looks like you have big money, but yet you're not making profits. I've seen people in my industry who has gone so far in life, they couldn't sustain, but they had so much money, but they didn't have profit. Having laid this foundation, what is business profit? Business profit is simple. Let's say, for instance, let me use the account. Let's say I invested $100 in my business. It's like you said, a financial gain, especially the difference between the amount earned and the amount spent in buying, operating, or producing. But I'm not going to be focusing on that. You know, like maybe like if I go to Aba now and I buy materials for 10,000 naira and I sell it 12,000. Some people say that I've made profit of 2,000. And frankly, this is where the problem comes in, because it's important for you to understand that accountability will lead you to profiting. Ability to detail and have your money to be accounted, no matter how insignificant it is. So I was in church sometime, and a pastor said something, and from that moment, that was what changed the dynamics of my business, and I become accountable. What is business profitability? It is advantage that you have in that business. And one of the things I've heard is I'm accountable to every dime in my business. If I buy a card, it's accounted for. I made a tremendous loss some years back. I mean, I had to rent my warehouse. At that time, I exited a particular business. That company were owing them about 18 million. and I've already lost about close to 30 million. So we exited from that business, that particular business, with about close to 50 million deficit. So we have quantums of money, but we didn't make profits. And one of the things that you know that you're not making profit is when the business gives you sleepless nights. But hey, as I speak with you now, I sleep very well in terms of my business because, hey, it is well tailored for profit and not to make money. Even though money is part of it, but like I said, the only thing that sustains your business is profit. So how do I do this? Number one is accountability. If you don't become accountable to every 10 kobo that you earn and be able to classify them between your asset and your liability. Like I said, if I go to a bar and I make 2,000 naira, my salary isn't there. Most people do not know that your salary isn't there. Your rent isn't there. The rent of that business isn't there. Compliance money isn't there. I'm going to dwell on this because this is where I want to go in the 21st century. If we don't take care of these, we can erode every money we've made. And it's about the statutory payment, the government payment, the taxes. This is very critical. Until you get abreast of these, you might be working for government in the next 2 years, no matter the kind of business you're doing. And so accountability was very key in my business. And this because of my financial, my banking experience. And so to every kobo, to every debit, there is a corresponding credit. And to every credit, there is a debit. And if you are a managing director, a CEO who do not have this basic concept of your business, you may make money, but you will not be able to make profit. And once you understand your business is profitable, you know that you can expand, you can sustain, and you can grow. Most of the reasons why people are in a cycle, they have quantums of money, but they can't articulate it. They can't totally say they have made improvement. They may buy a car, they may buy a house, but their business is not profitable. And ladies and gentlemen, I expand my business or buy assets from the profit, not from the quantum of money. And most people think that I have money really, and I keep saying I do not have money. I just have financial intelligence to understand profiting and between profiting and money. Because you may have quantums of money in a season and you engage into an activity. I give instance, if you go around town, you will realize that there's a whole lot of buildings that have abandoned abandoned projects. Those people engage into the quantum of money without profiting. And that's why you find out that they've gone far, but they could not sustain the business because they had quantums of money and they see visible of money, but they didn't know that they didn't have profit. And so for companies that move faster, basically what they do is that they invest in their profit. They reinvest their profit rather than invest in money. So I've been studying a chain of hotels. They've been all over the world. And I was stressing, I got to find out in one of our business meetings where I belong in leadership. And I talked to the gentleman and I asked him a question. I said, this is the difference. He said, that was how I got to find out about these finalities. The people who make money may not sustain business, but people who make profit keep increasing and keep increasing, keep increasing. So he told me that, listen, this is what they've done. So if they make income, annual income, of course, when they write off their taxes and all that, so they justify about their income apart from the results and all that. So what happened is that they would go to the bank and show them, say, we have made profit over here. This is our financial statement. This is the quantum of money that we have gotten. Well, this is the profit that we have made out of this business. So it means that if we have invested in the business, a particular business, for a certain period, and so we are accountable, we are taking all we have paid our taxes, and now this is the profit. And so we're giving you this profit because we want to have a branch. And so this branch will be sustained by profit. Peradventure, that branch is not profitable. What happened is that it will still not affect the business. What it would happen is that the business, the main business and structure, will keep sustaining the other business. If you look at the banking industries, they have a lot of branches everywhere. Not all the branches are profitable. They may not be profitable, but they may be able to have benefit and advantage, maybe in terms of assets, maybe in terms of visibility, maybe in terms of accessibility. Now, in the overall performance, you realize that yes, the branch is not making profit, but yet the bank is also, that branch is contributing to the overall assets, which is sustained by main funding from the head office. And that's why most of us struggle consistently to expand business, because we see money and that money is not planned for, because each time you make money, that money is not your money entirely. Each time you make money, each time you make profit, that money, that profit, that when you increase money, maybe from 10,000 to 12,000, that 12,000, that 2,000 extra doesn't belong to you in totality. But you may think that you have 12,000, but yet in the real analysis, you do not have 12,000, because inside that 12,000, that money will not all belong to you. So how do we get into this? So the fundamental for this business, especially in the 21st century, is to be able to track your money. And in tracking your money, you may be able to classify them into your assets and into your what? Liability. If you don't classify your money into asset and liability, have an underlying markup, bringing it into gross, what happened is that you may be thinking about net instead of thinking about gross. Gross is the total money that you got, maybe like the 2,000 you got. But net is when you have subtracted the bank charges. You have subtracted maybe loan. You have subtracted the salaries. You have subtracted your assets. Maybe it's your phone that is your asset. And you have subtracted that asset, the cost. Why? Think about maybe that all that you have in your business is a cell phone. That's what you do. And somebody have given you money, or maybe that by dash or something, and you got an asset of phone, 150,000. You may be making money with this phone, thinking that you're making money. But the truth is that if you can't replace this phone, you have not made profit. What you have done is to make money, but you didn't make profit. I don't know whether I'm making sense now. So if you watch your business, you can't reproduce one of your assets after you have made so much money. It means you have been making loss instead of making profit. You had quantums of money, but because you are not accountable to the details of accountability, being accountable to the business in terms of understanding your assets, the return on your assets, and your liability, differentiating it and subtracting all that is necessary, making provision to replace your asset. So you make quantums of money, but your business is dying. And that is why it looks like in Port Harcourt, where we stay, you see that maybe like a lady opened a shop. So the husband had given him, maybe like about 2 million. So he rents a shop. Yeah. When he rents a shop, he goes to Dubai and buy goods. And when he buy goods, he has paid rent. There's a background downstairs. Can you kill that background? Thank you. If you can mute everybody there so that the background noise will go. Thank you. So I did analysis. So the husband buys, I give you 2 million. You rent a shop. You start your business. You buy your equipment. You employ staff and everything. 2 years after, you made so much money, but you could not pay rent. You could not produce equipment. You have made money, but you are not profitable. And we can change the dynamics, become profitable in your business. You know, you can sustain and grow business. Something happened recently for the company that we worked for. And so I didn't know that one of their signature is that when they appoint you as a distributor, 2 years after, you need to show them that you're making profit by maybe like you bought a car or you've done something, open a house or something. So when they engage me and what they supposed to thought that we're making, I analyzed those things and I told them, if I buy a car out of this profit, what you think is for profit, that in the next 10 months, we will not be able to sustain this business. And they asked me, I said, okay, fine. We bought a car to sustain this business. We have vehicles. And now we are making money. It looks like as if money is coming, but the asset is depreciating on a daily basis. How are we able to reproduce this? How are we able to sustain this? So the ingredients of business is not, which is where I'm going, will be segmented into this proportion. People, when you do not have a total analysis of the cost of people running your business and their input, you may make money, but you will not make profit. So profit is in people. I mean, I have a lot of people that basically, when I look at them, they don't contribute to our overall profit. They are just there. So I classify them as my social responsibility people, you know, by just to make sure that I employ people who are out of the street. When I look at their contribution and their value contribution, they do not bring profit. So your profit starts from you if you are the only one in the business. The other people that you engage, they must be profitable in the company. If they are not profitable in the company, they are silent people who kill the business. So you need to understand the people that you engage on a day-to-day must be able to reproduce themselves. Otherwise, they are silently draining the quantum of money without reproducing themselves. The other thing I'm going to talk about is equipment. People are excited to buy equipment. And because they're excited to buy equipment, they buy a whole lot of equipment, maybe like a restaurant now. You bought gas, you bought all stuff. As you're cooking, that gas is depreciating. Yes, you have got some money you save from maybe where you worked and all that. The gas is depreciating. And meanwhile, you were not accountable and you thought you have quantums of money. In 2 years, the gas is depleted, but you can't reproduce it any longer. You made money, you are not profitable. That's people, equipment. And the other one that drains is environment. Our environment, as it is now, I want to sound it to everybody. The way we are going, we are no longer going to be our local person. You say, oh, I have a salon, so it's a locality. No, your environment also very, very key. They are components of profiting. If you stay in an environment that is exposed to you, where you have local tax people, state tax people, Government tax, people can see you. What happens is that you may not understand that every time you give out to the environment is depleting your profit. So your environment is supposed to sustain where you are located. Some people are not rightly located in their where they place their office, and it's very expensive. Maybe they don't have power. They have to rely on generating set. They have to rely on inverter and all that. Meanwhile, it may look like, oh, you're making money out of because of the volume of people, but not knowing that the asset you are putting in has now turned into liability. So your environment also must be able to make profit. If it doesn't make profit, then you may have quantities of money, but it's not sustainable. Now, this is the last one, government. Government is a drainer. In fact, all of us work for government. And if you are registered your company as a liability company, you are not the owner of that company. Government is the owner. That is why it is incorporated. It was government that gave birth to that company. And the reason they gave back to that company, because you are now in their database. And in that database, you are monitored, especially now if you have just registered your business new, you realize that they are attaching VAT and tax. You don't need to get them. Once you get your incorporation certificate, they're already attaching it. What is that? You make returns. And as you make returns, it means you're working for government. And most people do not understand that once you are tied down to that place, then you are supposed to make returns. And as you're making your annual returns, now you're making profit. Government is going to look at your profit in terms of taxation, in terms of educational tax, and all that taxation. So you have quantums of money. You are rejoicing, but yet not knowing that half of that money, if it's not well properly accounted, will go to government. And government, if government is not producing for you, then you have quantums of money, but you don't have profit. And so these are some of the insights they won't give to us, right? Okay, suddenly they say, no, if you have to do certain business, you need to get to ITF, you need to get to all kinds of things. You need to get certifications and all that. That certification that you are getting, if that certification is not producing for you, it is a drainer. You may have money, but you may not be able to pay for the next year, especially for us who are in the oil and gas. We're expected to renew our permit on a yearly basis. Sometimes you have like about 150, you can take about 2 million. Most of the time in a year, my certification costs me about 2 million. If I am renewing my certification and they are not bringing money, that means I may make quantums of money, but meanwhile I am still in the same spot. And so that's why I wanted to bring out this insight for every one of us to begin to pattern our structure to be able to become profitable, not making money. If you keep making money without profit, you may expand not naturally, bush, but it's not sustainable. And I've checked consistently, most companies who has made money without profit, they couldn't. So how do we start making money? This is one of the things we need to do. We need to cut out unprofitable products and services. Now I've given you people, I've given you equipment, I've given you environment, and I've given you government. You should be able to analyze and sit down to analyze the contributions, both in terms of what you pay or what you get from. So you begin to realign your priorities. Am I supposed to do this? Am I not supposed to do this? So that which one is giving me, making more returns? Which one is not making returns? And the analysis on a monthly basis, that's why I say accountability is the core that will shape whether you're making money or making profits. So we need to cut down, sit down to do an unprofitable analysis of our products and services. There may be services that you will keep that is for display, that could help you in the overall. They may not be profitable, but yet because they are things that brings to you customers. They're their reference point. They may not be profitable really, but if you remove them, the attraction you have from your customers will be depleted. So you need to be able to categorize your product and services to know those ones who are the high earner. I call them the bread and butter. Your bread and butter could be the one that sustains the business. So you need to be able to classify your service and product, the bread and butter. The bread and butter are the ones to sustain. They may not bring you high profit, but they keep you going. I have a business. My other business is what I call the bread and butter. Most times, well, because it's a daily thing, so you keep getting some income. They may not be able to give you quantums of money, but they can sustain you. They can make you relevant. They can give you turnover. They may not be profitable because, hey, for instance, you are measured by your turnover. Maybe the bank will begin to classify you to say, okay, now you are a billionaire. The billionaire may not necessarily that you have a billion. It's because your turnover is a billion. And so you are qualified around there. So the business may give you that turnover and give you image. And that's part of the advantage. So in profiting, it may not necessarily be a quantum of money. It could give you name. It could give you goodwill. It could also give you reference. It could make you like a reference point. And once you have that reference, it means that you can sustain your business. You can bring more customers. So it's important from today, we classified our business. We classified our pursuit. Which one give us high end? Which one give us low end? Which one make us relevant? And most people just move on into that product. Maybe like you were a tailor. You should be able to classify, oh, if I do more shirts, it's going to give me volume, but may not necessarily give me profit. If I do it on this, maybe it may give me less volume, but it give me profit. If I engage in my farming, I'm never able to classify products. These ones are long term. These are short term. These are the seasonal goods. If you're able to understand your products and services, it will help you align them. When you align them, you classify them in terms of their returns, in terms of their consumption. Maybe like you have a farm and all that. You need to be able to check them one by one, and I give an account and understand the process. Which one consume more? Which one is an asset? You look at them. If you brand them, that will help you to monetize everything that comes in and your income. Which one is a high revenue? Which one is not a high revenue? Which one give me reference? Most people don't sit down to understand their product and services. And I'm good at this. I understand. I mean, maybe we are into environmental services, we're into trade response and blah, 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 and all that. I know the high-end ones, and I focus on them. Once I focus on them, then we can use the other one. I mean, during the COVID, really, our site was shut down, but we didn't shut down completely because I have classified our product and services. I know the one that you can do online. And now, this is also where people will be involved. There are people that you don't need when the business is low, because people consume almost about 5 to 10% of your profits. And so if they are not useful, then you'll be able to classify, should I use ad hoc staff, should I use permanent staff, or should I use consultants? But people just want to say, I want to have staff. And they are not taking a holistic view of the people that they've employed to know their income and their returns. They may be able to make money, but yeah, that money is not sustainable. And that's why you see that most companies during the COVID-19 already cutting salaries. And my question will be, were they make with the kind of money they were making, how come they had this kind of money and they don't have profit? They can't sustain paying salary for 1 year. It is because people don't take time to analyze this concept in this whole totality to be able to put their blueprint and their business in a solid foundation. I was talking to a gentleman some last week ago, and he was crying. I said, oh, I mean, they cut their salary. They work only 2 weeks, and 2 weeks in and 2 weeks out. And I was thinking that, oh, this is the company I was referencing. I was really totally shocked that they're already laying off people within 6 months. You lay off people 6 months without their problem. Why? Because people don't classify it and really take notice of the asset of the people, how they return. The other one I'm going to be talking about is targeting new customers. Now, people don't sit down to analyze their clients or their customers. And it is important, if you're going to make profit, there are customers who will never give you money, but they will give you reference. They may be expensive to maintain. You need to be able to classify them. You don't need to have many of them. You need to be able to classify and zone your customers. I recall when we were doing a lot of credit sales, and I got into there and I told them, hey guys, this we should stop. Let's classify our customers. Well, let's grade them, grade A, grade B, grade C, and grade D. We're able to atomize that, get to know all of them. Why do you think that maybe bankers are saying, know your customers? What do they call that slang? Know your customers. What are they doing? They classify them. These are prime this thing. These are prime this. They'll classify and put you here and there. What are they doing? They are classifying you to understand our customer base. If you understand your customer base, you'll be able to automate these people give me this, this one give me this one give me this. But most of all do not even take time to understand our customer base. Put them. All will remember, oh, because we want them to give them maybe birthday or send cake over there. No, you should be able to understand your customers and look at the inflow, the revenue that comes from them, how you maintain them, the cost of maintaining them. If you don't have full understanding of your customers, you may make money, but yet you use that money to service other customers. So it's very important that we understand unprofitable products and services and understand our clients and understand our customers. The other one that is very important is to look at dead business. I'm an expert. When I come into some of the dead business, I smoke them from the gate. I smoke them from the gate. Because you see them, they are showmanship. They have so much asset. They have so much cars. They have so much things to go. When you look at them in the first value, hey, these guys are chopping. They have what the presence everywhere, but take something hit them in 6 months, they can't sustain it. Because why? They don't even understand whether their business is alive. And one of the ways to test your business will be alive is the response you get employing auditors. And auditors doesn't have to really cost money. And this is one of the things that we need to do. If you don't have external people who come to audit your business on a regular business, you may not be able to sustain business. Auditors. And you don't have to have money. Yeah, thanks. You don't have to have money to engage auditors. What happens is that you can just have friends who come and look at your books. When you look at your books and they do interview, then you realize that you're making so much mistake in your accounting, you're making so much mistake in your profit, everything. So it's important if you get these three sides to know your customers, to know the profitable products, and to be able to get yourself audited. In that way, you put a very strong setup for your business that will just prepare you not only to make money, but to be profitable in order to sustain this business. Because of time, I will take questions. I have a lot of things I needed to deal with. So please, it's important you understand people, you understand equipment, you understand environment, and you understand government. And you look at the 3 points I have mentioned, and don't look for money, please look for profit. Thank you.
Wow. Thank you so much, sir. Thank you so much. Wow. Thank you. This is so unique. All right, so let's just take our questions. Our time is up. So if you have questions, I want you to drop it on the comment section or raise your hand so that you can have the leverage of asking via voice. If you have a question, please just raise your hand so that you can ask your question directly from the mic. You can also ask the question on the comment section. All right, so since we don't have so much time, while the questions are coming, I want us to put on the comment section what we got from today's class. Put on the comment section what you got, what you're taking home, and what you're going to do about what you learned from this class. All right, so questions. Thank you so much, Mr. Patrick. Thank you so much for this outstanding value you gave to us. This is so deep. You know, when you said we don't go to business to make money, we go to business to make profit. That was like a shock. That was like a shock first. You know, when you started dividing the world, I got to know, you know, that's so big. That's so big. And you know, you also talked about, you know, when you explained that using the billionaire, I think Otedola, that story started trending recently, and I just read it and I was baffled, you know, with how he bounced back after the whole struggle. Thank you so much, sir. Thank you so much, sir. Okay, Sunday, Mbebu, please unmute your mic and ask your question. Sunday, please unmute your mic and ask your question. Chukwemeka, you can also unmute your mic. Okay, Sunday is asking, how do I maintain accountability in my business and in everything I do? Second question, how do you evaluate profitability of his staff? So these are two questions. So okay, you can respond.
Number one, I'm going to ask you, Sunday, do you pay yourself a salary of the business? That's number one, accountability. I'm taking up a particular company. I'm reviewing your processes, and the first thing I did was to ask the managing director to go and give himself an appointment letter and pay himself salary. And when he brought the salary, I asked him, okay, so let us do an analysis of your input. How much do you generate? Because every salary that you earn on a monthly basis, you are supposed to produce 3 times of that salary if we are going to make profit. So each time you employ a staff and that staff cannot generate revenue 3 times of his or her salary, that staff is unprofitable. I mean, there are some jobs that may not count over there because maybe I'm in a marketer and I'm running out a project, and that project can last for 2 years before I get it. Could cover there what I'm doing, but you should be able to pay yourself salary. And now, if you have a capital that you started with, let's say somebody gave you 100,000, that 100,000 is not your profit. Every money you spend, for instance, I traveled to Abuja recently. I mean, I went to restaurants, I collected receipts. I took a taxi, I collected receipt. I spent some money in the hotel, I collected receipt, and I retire my money. And I'll go back to the accountant and give explanation of everything. Every time you do not receipt expenses, you open up for unprofitable venture. Every time you spend money from the source of money without going through a route of operational petty cash, you are not accountable. And this is one of the reasons most managing directors cannot sustain business. They'll just go to the cashier and say, hey, give me 100,000. What is that 100,000 for? You come, okay, can you give me details of how you spend this 100,000? I am the owner of this company. The next time that cashier will take 20,000 naira out of it because nobody's accounted for anything. You do not spend money from the company without proper authorization. So what I do in my organization, every money that comes into the business goes to the bank. And we have our petty cash that we spend money from. So you cannot spend money from the source because it has to be accounted in the bank. And as a managing director, I do not have right to go to the bank account to collect money. No, it has to pass through the accountant who has set up expenses account and income account, and everything must be recorded. And that's the first way to record. When I was working, when I earn salary, I mean, I have a structure how I organize. Okay, this is my tithe, this one to my mother, and this over there, and you write it down. So this is what I'm going to use for this. In Nigeria, we don't budget. Most of us do not have budget. Why? Because we're not accountable. We say, is it not my money? I can spend it. You just take the money, you put it inside your account. Can you give account of the last 20,000 naira you gave? It is not about your miser, but it just give you, it just give you how you're throwing money, because how you spend money will determine how you're going to increase. So account, take a book, take an accounting book, record your transaction. It will show you how much you're spending and how much you were supposed to save. The other question was saying, how do you know?
Awesome. How do you
How can I
profitability of
evaluate
your
the
staff?
profitability of your staff? You should be
Yeah.
able to know. For instance, the reception comes up with image. She may not be able to bring certain value, but when your client comes in and they feel good and they want to come back here because the reception is warm, she's promoting the image of the culture of the company, making it warm and making it accessible. Your client will come back, and as they come back, let me tell you one of the things my former boss used to say, that if we're going to employ a receptionist, it's either she's smart or she's beautiful. I didn't understand it until he sat me down and said, hey, when you employ a smart receptionist and she engages client will want to come back, and she picks up nice call, or maybe she's warm or she's fair looking and people want to come back, people will come back. And so you can evaluate that. Some other people say, how do you evaluate the security man? You will evaluate them by their content. How do they manage the generator? What are they doing? How do they protect people coming over there? You have to have an assessment. What about the driver? What about the accountant? What about the marketers? You should be able to know, because you as a managing director have set the bar. I should be able to calculate, well, this is the input of this person. I know the people who are not working in my organization. In fact, they know that I know them. And every person you employ should be able to produce 3 times of his or her earning.
Awesome. Thank you so much, sir. Thank you. James, can you ask your question now?
Okay. Good evening, sir.
Yeah, good evening,
I'm fine, sir. I'm sorry I came in a bit late. But, there's this question I want to ask. I'll go straight to the point. Like in my business as a fashion designer, one of our top priorities, one of the problems we want to solve is delivery problem. We discovered that most fashion designers or most tailors, what the issues they have with their clients or with their customers is delivery. You give a tailor clothes and it's taking months, taking weeks to deliver and all of that. So now we want to be in charge of the situation. I want a situation whereby I can be able to say, okay, you order for a clothes and you get it in 72 hours. That's 3 days, and I am in charge of it and I know how to do it, get it done. So now, what I can't be in charge of it without getting to a certain stage in my business. I need staffs, I need people to work with me. I can't just promise somebody 72 hours when I don't have the manpower to deliver in 72 hours. Having the manpower still requires me having the resource to pay them too. So I want to know, is there a way one can be in charge of such situation when you are not in that level yet? Is there a way I can manage it?
Emeka, I've done this business, when I was growing up, okay? Let me tell you what happened. So I used to go to Aba to make clothes, and the tailors they were as usual, they would disappoint. You know what I did? I said, hey, I went to that place. I picked up their best tailor. I bought equipment for myself and I put him there. And I told him, you're running your business. Hey, but my priority is that you do my own. If you have grown your business 1 year, 2 years, and you've done an audit of that business, and you can predict the variance where it is possible or what is not possible. But most times we are depending on the other person. You cannot depend the total process on another person and make that commitment. You need to somehow be part of the process making. It's either in one way or the other. Maybe like you can learn how to cut those materials. So you can cut and you know that you are just, these other guys are only processing in mending it or in put them together. You must be part of that process. If you're not that part of that process, you can't control it. The other day you can also change their mentality is what I call the bonus incentives. So you see, okay, so I will give you extra 10 naira if you do this on this day. So you can drive them with bonus. But if you're not part of that process, it's always very difficult to be able to control the outcome of the process. So get involved in the process, in no matter how small it is. And it doesn't take anything. You can actually cut, become your own designer. So you do your own cutting, take your measurement, you do measurement. You can learn the basic cutting. But if you're not part of the process, it will always be very difficult to intervene in the full outcome. So be part of the process or drive it with incentives.
Okay, sir. Thank you so much, sir, for giving answers to that question. Someone else is asking, please, I would like to know, is medical practice a business? If yes, how do you separate profit from making money, knowing that 80% of people you know get free consultation from you, turning it into charity? Why, as a doctor, you pay for virtually everything or please, shouldn't
So
people
let's
pay
say
for
that
this service?
let's say like your license as a doctor, you have to renew it every year. You have to pay a certain amount of money. You see, you go to work every day. Each hour must be allocated to a certain value of money. Now, whether it is free consultation, you need to be able to say, yes, this is how much I spend on hourly basis. If you're not able to determine your hourly rate and what you do, it's very difficult to really know what you are imputing. Don't forget, in standard, we talked about so much about your work and your job. And the quantum of your work really could just be also a profit to you. I didn't go into that dimension because I wanted to talk about other things about profitable maybe next time. So in your medical profession, you should be able to sit down to evaluate what you do on a daily basis. Let's assume that you're going to be a consultant in an international organization and they want to know whether you're profitable. They want to see on your day-to-day what you do. So if you mark, I come to work by 8 o'clock, this hour, you put value, sum it together. You even know whether they are short paying you or you're overpaid. So your input over there, maybe like bring it to what they call the cost center. Now, in your department, there's a cost center, there's money that has been allocated to you, and you're meant to produce more money out of that. Now, the only way to justify your money is be able to catalog on a day-to-day your services that you offer, all that you offer. Now, put monetary value to it. When you sum it, you will know whether your department is running at loss or whether your profit is making profit. But if you don't take time to analyze what you do on a daily basis and assign cost to them, you might think that, oh, government is producing that money. But in the full analysis, that's why if you now change the dynamics and take where you are now from the government into private sector, you have the pharmacy, you have all their section, and you are supposed to ask each department as a cost center to make sure they make profit, including the admin. So if you don't sit down to analyze your activity and value them in terms of monetary value, you may not know that you're making profit. And when you want to run your organization, you're not able to keep it because you're not able to lay the foundation of accountability.
All right. Thank you so much, sir. Thank you so much, sir. Okay, so our time is up. We've taken so much. We've taken 18 minutes into our time already. It's 18 minutes past 8. Thank you everyone for joining this meeting. I think we'll have to wrap up this conference here. Thank you so much, Mr. Patrick, for finding time to mentor and to give this so much value to young people like us. Thank you so much, sir. Thank you so much. We're grateful. All right,
Thank
guys.
you
Thank
very
you for
much,
joining.
everybody
So,
that participate.
all right.
My desire is
So,
that this is not just a talk show. Please, I want to
mm,
see your life improve. I want to see your business improve. I want to see, make sure that we're not living from hand to mouth, but that we are actually expanding and increasing our business on a yearly basis. Thank you very much. I'm available to make assessment to some of this business, just to come and look at some audit and look at what you're doing right and what you're not doing right, so that we could help and share some ideas. Thank you.